Well, today is going to be kind of a different shape than normal. This is a piece of English walnut. It's 6.5 square. It's 5 inches tall. I'm going to make a square bowl, but not your normal square bowl. I've already drilled a hole for the worm screw. I'll go ahead and get it mounted up and we'll start turning. Well, I have it mounted on the worm screw and I want to use the tailstock for a while. So I'll establish that center right now. I'm going to start out with a 5/8 bowl gouge. Feels pretty balanced. Start out about 700 RPM. Now this might not quite work out the way I wanted. I didn't think that part could go in there that far, and I really don't want to leave it on this. Pretty good shavings. Go ahead and clean up this bottom and create a tenon, and that'll help me decide what I want to do up in here. Alright, I think I can make that work now. I'm going to switch to a 1/2 inch bowl gouge and do a little cleaning up here. That's not too bad. I'll get some of them tool marks out. Alright, that's not too bad. Just go over it with the negative rake scraper a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the tenon here. The jaws with a dovetail, so I need to cut that on there. I'll go ahead and get it flipped around and we'll start to hollow it out. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start hollowing it out. I'm going to leave the tail stuck against it for just a little while, and we'll have to move it. Doing 700 RPM, and I've got my half-inch bowl gouge. It's got a lot more sweat back on it. Okay, we get this wall down to between maybe a quarter, 3/8 at the most. Alright, that's about 5/16. I think probably go with that. And I'll go ahead and move some things around and get the tailstock out of the way. So I just kind of sketched a line on here. This is what I'm after. It should look something like that when I get it cut. I want to get all that cut down to here and leave as much stock in the middle as I can. It'll just give it a little more support while I'm cleaning that up. So let's just keep going. I had to put a little light on there so I could see. A little bit more. I think that'll do it. Okay, so go back to the 5/8 gouge. I'm sticking it out there a little bit farther. This will be quite a bit more rigid than the other one. It's going to be important to follow this wall all the way down, otherwise it's liable to crack. Going back to the 5/8. Alright, that's down about 3/8. That's good enough. I'll just go in there and clean that up. And I think we can do it with this. Alright, that's pretty good. I'm going to see if I can sand this now. It's a lot thinner and it's drying out quick. Move the camera around and see if we can get that outside sand. So the wood is still wet, but I found that if I use sheets of paper and I don't spin it too fast, I can actually get quite a bit of the sanding done. So I'm going to start with 80 grit, I'll sand in reverse, and we'll see if we can make some dust. Yeah, that works. Not going to go up very high here. I'm going to have to do some of that, which isn't too bad. Get these edges sanded. I'm going to do the same thing on the inside, and I'll work my way up to 400 if I can get there. And I'll come back and we'll probably put thinking about walnut oil. I have it all sanded to 400 now, and I decided before I finished the hand sanding in these areas I would take it off the chuck, and I examined the tenon, which was pretty big. Everything else is fairly thin, especially the bottom. I ended up about an 1/8 inch on it. I decided I should cut that tenon off. I didn't want to take a chance on having some shrinkage going on there and cracking somewhere. So I removed that. I didn't show that because I was kind of in a hurry to get it off. But I also talked about using walnut oil. The wood is really soft. I'm going to use something else. Let me get some gloves on and I'll show you what we're going to use. Alright, I'm all set. I'm going to use Minwax Wipe-On Poly. I have a feeling that this will soak right through. We'll also toughen up the wood a little bit, and that's why I was hesitant with using walnut oil. Alright, so I'm not sure how many coats it'll take, maybe 3. But when I get done with that, it'll be all done and I'll come back and show it to you. Well, here it is, my semi-square English walnut bowl. And I say semi-square because it doesn't really look very square anymore. But it certainly started out as a fairly square block. It finished at 6 1/8 inches both directions. And it's fairly deep for that size because it's 4 inches deep. But that's what allowed all this cutaway to show up, and I think that really makes a nice look. And it has some very pretty wood in there. That's the darker part of the English walnut, and the lighter is pretty nice as well. I decided to use Minwax Poly, the oil base, for a couple reasons. One, that was a little lighter than I liked, and it tinted it up because the oil base will tint your wood, and I don't always like it, but I really like it on this. And I let 2 coats soak in because the wood was very soft, and I sanded that out. And I decided to go ahead and use Minwax Polycrylic on it because it's much easier to sand that polycrylic, and all the sanding was done by hand at that point in time. Then I took a piece of cloth and I went over everything with Acks abrasive paste by hand, and I didn't try to get it shiny. I just wanted to take any lines from the 400 grit and get rid of them, and that worked really nice. So this is a very odd looking piece for sure. Let me know what you think about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Well, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. And hopefully it means that you liked it. If you did like it, click that like button, give it a thumbs up. Also, leave a comment as well. I read them all, and I'll do my best to answer any questions. As always, many thanks to all my subscribers. And if you're not, and you like what you saw, consider doing so. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.